Going on holidays and travelling is one of life's simple pleasures, and your travel plan should not be limited just because you have diabetes. Whether you dream of heading overseas or you wish to stay local, with a little extra planning, you can enjoy your dream destination without diabetes getting in the way. Before you go on any trip, give yourself some time to get organised. Some situations you need to be prepared for include lost or damaged diabetes supplies and medication, needing to stay away for a longer time than expected, varying climates, illness and hypoglycemia. If you are well prepared, even unexpected situations can be easily managed. Some specific information around travelling on the road and by air will be given later in this programme, but first of all, let's take a look at some general information that you should consider before any trip. Before you leave, organise an appointment with your GP or endocrinologist and your diabetes educator. This appointment should give you enough time to review your diabetes management and organise the following: prescriptions for your medications and insulin, making sure you can access more than what you will normally need while you are away. There are restrictions on the amount of PBS medicine that you can take overseas, so talk to your doctor about this. A plan to adjust your insulin or medications if you are travelling across time zones. A review of your sick day management plan. Any vaccinations that you require. A prescription for a glucagon hypo kit if appropriate. And a letter from your doctor outlining your full name, the type of diabetes that you have, other medical conditions, what medications you take, and all of the equipment that you require to manage your diabetes. Make multiple copies, as this may be required at customs if you are travelling overseas. Some other things that you will have to organise before you leave include travel insurance if you are heading overseas. Make sure the policy covers diabetes and note any restrictions to claims. Investigate healthcare options in other countries in case you become unwell or need some advice. The Medicare website has some information on reciprocal healthcare agreements with other countries. Check with the embassy or consulate of your destination country about what identification you need to take your medications and supplies into the country. Well before you are ready to pack for your trip, make a list of everything you need. This will give you time to get organised without rushing around at the last minute. Everyone's list will vary depending on how they manage their diabetes, but it may include a travel sharps container, an extra blood glucose meter, plenty of blood glucose and ketone strips, a spare lancet device and lancets, and extra batteries for your meter. If you use insulin, take more insulin than you will require, plus extra insulin pens and syringes. You can keep the spare insulin in an insulated bag if you don't have access to a fridge. If you take any oral medication, take what you need plus more. Make sure all of your insulin, medications and syringes remain in their pharmacy-labelled packaging. This will be important if you are travelling overseas. Pack the extra medications that you organise through your doctor. Pack the letter from your doctor outlining your medical conditions and the list of medications and diabetes supplies that you require. Keep a copy in your wallet and in each bag that you are travelling with. Along with this, keep photocopies of your Medicare and NDSS cards and an emergency contact list that includes your next of kin, family members and doctor's details. If necessary, have the statement, "I have diabetes," and a list of your prescriptions translated into the languages of the countries you are visiting. If relevant, pack a hypo kit that you can have access to at all times. Travelling can be unpredictable, and you may unexpectedly experience hypoglycemia for a range of reasons. Pack a basic first aid kit. This should include antiseptic cream, wound dressings, tweezers, scissors, tape, hydration sachets, and water purification tablets if you are going off the beaten track. Wear a medic alert or keep some kind of identification in your wallet. If you're on an insulin pump, take spare pump consumables and supplies, including extra infusion sets and inserters, extra lines, alcohol wipes, and spare batteries. It is also important to be prepared for pump failure. Make sure you have your basal rates and insulin to carbohydrate ratios written down to guide insulin injections if needed. But of course, You will need insulin pens or syringes, some rapid and long-acting insulin to do this. You can keep this spare insulin in an insulated bag while you are travelling and don't have access to a fridge. To ease your mind, also take the contact number for your pump supplier in case you have any problems. If your travel involves going by car, train or bus, here are some considerations to make it a fun and safe trip. If you are the one behind the wheel and you are at risk of hypoglycemia, make sure your blood glucose levels are above 5 before you drive and stop every 2 hours to make sure they stay above 5. High blood glucose levels may be a concern if you are going on a long road trip. This may be due to less exercise than usual. In some situations, consuming high carbohydrate meals and snacks could further increase blood glucose levels at this time. So be prepared with some lower carbohydrate snacks or light meals for the trip where possible. These meals and snacks will be great alternatives to the high-fat, energy-dense foods often available at service stations or takeaway stores on the road. Pack your meals and snacks in snap-lock bags and containers and keep in a cooler bag. A thermos of hot water is another great travel companion to make tea and coffee. Some food ideas include nuts and seeds, mixed berries with natural yoghurt, vegetable sticks for the dip, mini frittatas, tins of tuna and salmon, hard-boiled eggs, wraps, whole grain crisp bread, containers of chopped up salads and roasted vegetables. Taking your own snacks and meals will encourage you to pull over somewhere nice to eat and enjoy the scenery and take a bit of a walk. Travelling by plane, whether locally or overseas, is an exciting time for most of us. If you have diabetes and are prepared for all situations, you can relax and enjoy the ride along with everyone else. Some things to consider include: take all of your diabetes supplies and medications in your carry-on luggage and split the spare supplies amongst the people that you are travelling with, or between 2 hand luggage bags if you are travelling by yourself. This is important in case your main luggage gets lost or delayed. Don't pack any of your insulin in the main luggage compartment, as the plane's hold is not temperature controlled and the insulin may freeze. Monitor your blood glucose levels regularly during your flight, as there are many factors that may affect them, such as change in time zones, different types and amounts of food, sitting for long periods, altitude, and any stress from travelling. Take some extra carbohydrate-containing snacks with you on the plane if you are at risk of hypoglycemia, just in case there is a delay in your meal or you are served less carbohydrate than you are used to. Snacks such as dried fruit, muesli bars or crackers are convenient options. There is no need to order a special menu for someone with diabetes before you fly, as all food choices are suitable for people living with diabetes. Just consider the amount of carbohydrates served. Stand up and walk around as often as possible to increase circulation, manage blood glucose levels and prevent clots. If you are wearing a continuous blood glucose monitor, the sensor signal needs to be disconnected during the flight to minimize the risk of interference. For any updates around this, contact your continuous glucose monitoring system company and airline that you are travelling with before you leave. For people flying with an insulin pump, especially overseas, there are a few more considerations. You are permitted by law to wear your insulin pump on the plane, but double-check with your insulin pump company for updates before you go. You should not put your pump through the X-ray machine that is used for carry-on or checked luggage and the full body scanner. Tell the security officer that you have diabetes and are carrying diabetes supplies. They can organise an alternative screening process that does not use X-ray. Alternatively, you will have to disconnect if you want to go through the body scanner. If you have any problems with a customs officer, ask for the supervisor that is employed by the Department of Infrastructure and Regional Development. Change your pump's clock when you get to your destination. This is important to make sure you get the right amount of insulin at the right time of day and night. When you are away, a different routine, different activity levels and different foods will probably mean a different pattern in your blood glucose levels. This is normal, and the best way to manage is to monitor regularly to see what is happening and to see if any changes in your management are needed. Many people actually find that their levels are often lower when they're on holidays because they are moving more and have less everyday stress. Monitoring regularly can often give people the confidence that they are managing quite well despite a different routine. It is also important to remember that if your blood glucose levels are above your target range here or there when you are away, this will have limited impact on your overall diabetes management and risk of complications. There could be a risk of gastroenteritis when you are travelling to different countries, especially if you are going off the beaten track. Reduce your risk by avoiding contaminated water and food, such as salads, and using bottled or boiled water, even to brush your teeth. If there is no way to have access to bottled water during your travels, take some water purification tablets as a last resort. Gastroenteritis can lead to unstable blood glucose levels and the risk of diabetic ketoacidosis in people with type 1 diabetes. Experiencing new foods is an important part of travelling, and you shouldn't have to miss out. If you are heading overseas, do a bit of research around the carbohydrate content of typical foods to help you manage the amount of carbohydrate you eat or match your insulin accordingly. There are different websites and smartphone apps to help you with carbohydrate counting. Although this program presented a comprehensive list of considerations for travelling with diabetes, it is important to remember that it is possible to go anywhere with a little bit of planning. The most important thing to do is to enjoy.